I just want to speak the name of Jesus over every heart and every soul. Maybe it's your mind. I don't know the words. They're not important. We're reading 1 Minute Bible for students. And it is the 8th today. Let's see. History? No, this story. Here's the deal. This story of how God wanted Israel to attack Jericho reveals that God's plans are often different from ours. Imagine the Israelites' military headquarters. The trained soldiers were reviewing the plan on how to conquer Jericho. Joshua enters and tells them, scrap that logical attack plans and instead march around the city, blow your trumpets, and shout loudly so the city walls will crumble. Imagine the soldiers' response. Yeah, right, Joshua. You're joshing us. It doesn't say that. Yeah. Ridiculous plan if God wasn't in control. When God is in charge of your life, you may find his ways and plans are different from yours. Next time you're faced with a problem, ask God to reveal his plan to you. And don't be surprised if his plan doesn't happen as you thought it would. Go and grab your trumpet. Get ready for God to work in your life. And Jericho was strongly fortified because of the Israelites. Really? No one leaving or entering. And the Lord said to Joshua, look, I've handed Jericho, its king, and its fighting men over to you. March around the city with all the men of war, circling the city one time, and do this for 6 days. Have 7 priests carry 7 ram's horn trumpets in front of the ark. But on the 7th day, march around the city 7 times while the priests blow the trumpets. When there is prolonged blast of the horn and you hear its sound, have all the people give a mighty shout. And then the city wall will collapse and the people will advance, each man straight ahead. So the people shouted, and the trumpets sounded. When they heard the blast of the trumpet, the people gave a great shout, and the wall collapsed. The people advanced into the city, and each man straight ahead. And they captured the city, and they completely destroyed everything in the city with the sword, every man and woman, both young and old, and every ox, sheep, and donkey. But Joshua spared Rahab, the prostitute, her father's household, and all who belonged to her, because she hid the men Joshua had sent to spy on Jericho, and she lives in Israel to this day. Joshua 6, 1-5, 20-21, and 25. She's saying she's alive. What I read. That's what it said, so figure that one out. God's Devotional. I just want to speak the name of... Kindness is the oil that takes the friction out of life. The fruit of the Spirit is kindness. Galatians 5:22. After 2 years of marriage, Pete no longer saw his wife as interesting, fun, or attractive. Well, that's a blessing. 2 years in to feel that way, because then you can move on, right? Oh, wait, marriage. Well, maybe he didn't know her long enough before he married her. Anyway, in his mind, he regarded her as a sloppy housekeeper, overweight, and a woman with a fault-finding personality. He sought out a divorce attorney who advised him, Pete, if you really want to get even with your wife, start treating her like a queen. Do everything in your power, to save her, or serve her. Please her and make her feel special. Then after a couple of months of his royal treatment, pack your bags and leave. That way you'll disappoint her as much as she's disappointed you. Pete could hardly wait to enact the plan. He picked up a dozen roses on his way home and helped his wife with the dinner dishes, brought her breakfast in bed, and began complimenting her on her clothes, cooking, and housekeeping. What was he lying to her? He treated her to an out-of-town trip. After 3 months, the attorney called and said, well, I have those divorce papers ready for you to sign. Matter of minutes, you can be a happy bachelor. You crazy? Pete said. My wife has made so many changes. I wouldn't think of divorcing her now. Kindness extended toward another person may not change the other person, but it does change the person. Show kindness, it makes them kinder. Oh, it's good advice. just be stringing yourself along then. Now you're going to be in 4 years deep, or 7, 13, 20, 40, 60. Before you know it, it's all over. Here's at the name of Jesus, and you've overcome. Jesus is the overcomer. He triumphed over all difficulties and has overwhelmed Satan, the world, and the physical desires which lead us away from God. Jesus says, hate the evil in yourself and in the world, but let the passion of the hatred operate to bring forth good. Yearn with me for all people, including yourself, to come into the glorious light of my joy in being overcomers. These will wage war against the Lamb, and the Lamb will overcome them, because he is the Lord of the lords and King of kings, and those who are with him are the called and chosen and faithful. Revelation 17:14. 17:14, Revelation. Springs in the valley, Mrs. Calman. July 8. Eyes crushed. 2 Corinthians 1:8. You smell delightfully fragrant, said the gravel walk to the bed of chamomile flowers under the window. We have been trodden on, replied the chamomiles. Does that cause it? Asked the gravel walk. Treading on me produces no sweetness. Our natures are different, answered the chamomiles. Gravel walks become only the harder by being trodden upon. But the effect on our own selves is that if pressed and bruised, when the dew is upon us, we give forth the sweet smell you now delight in. Very delightful, replied the gravel walk. I point out the gravel rock became a better gravel walk if it got compacted. Trials come alike to the Christian and to the man of the world. The one grows bitter and hardened under the experience, while the other becomes mellow and Christ-like. It is because their natures are different, and both serve their purpose. Oh, beautiful rose, please tell me, for I would like to know why I must crush your petals, that sweet perfume may flow. I'd like to know too, because you don't. Oh, life that is clothed in beauty, perhaps like that beautiful rose, you'll need to be crushed by suffering ere you give out your best, who knows? A life that is crushed by sorrow can feel for another's grief and send out a sweet perfume of love that will bring some heart relief. Oh, do not repine at your testing. When called to pass under the rod, it is that life might be sweeter and comes from the hand of God. He knows how much we are needing, sorrow or suffering or test, and only gives to his children the things that we know are best. And let us rejoice when he sendeth some sorrow or hardship that tries. Be glad to be crushed as the rose leaf, that a sweeter perfume may arise. Flora L. Osgood. It's that time again. The Daily Bible. F. Leggard Smith has rearranged it kindly. He offers this commentary on the fall of Israel. Despite prophetic warnings, Israel still rejects God. The end is at hand for the northern tribes. Last-minute desperation will lead to an alliance with Egypt in an effort to stave off Assyria. But the cause is hopeless. After 3 years' siege, Samaria will fall, and many of the people of Israel will be led captive to Assyria. Their lands and homes will be occupied by settlers sent in from Babylonia, other eastern countries. And these new Samaritans will become a hybrid people, will develop an unusual mixed religion. The Assyrian king at the time of the siege is Shalmaneser V. Upon Shalmaneser's death in 722 BC, Sargon II takes credit for the capture of Israel. But the fall itself is probably accomplished in 723 BC. Here is the extremely brief account of one of the darkest hours in the history of God's chosen nation. 2 Kings 17. Shalmaneser, king of Assyria, came up to attack Ashea. who had been Shalmaneser's vassal and had paid him tribute. The king of Assyria discovered that Hoshea was a traitor, for he had sent envoys to So, king of Egypt, So, or Sais, king of Egypt, and he no longer paid tribute to the king of Assyria, as he had done year by year. Therefore Shalmaneser seized him and put him in prison. 3-year siege in King Hezekiah's 4th year was the 7th year of Hoshea, son of Elah, king in Israel. Shalmaneser, king of Assyria, marched against Samaria and laid siege into it. The king of Assyria invaded the entire land, marched against Samaria, laid siege to it for 3 years. Samaria falls. At the end of 3 years, the Assyrians took it, so Samaria was captured in Hezekiah's 6th year, which was the 9th year of Hoshea, king of Israel. King of Assyria deported Israel to Assyria, settled them in Halah, in Gozan, on the Habor River, and in towns of the Medes. All this took place because the Israelites had sinned against the Lord their God, who had brought them up out of Egypt, from under the power of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. They worshipped other gods and followed the practices of nations the Lord had driven out before them, as well as the practices that the kings of Israel had introduced. The Israelites secretly did things against the Lord their God that were not right. From watchtower to fortified city, they built themselves high places in all their towns. They set up sacred stones, Asherah poles on every high hill and under every spreading tree. At every high place, they burned incense, as the nations of whom the Lord had driven out before them had done. They did wicked things that provoked the Lord to anger, worshipped idols. Though the Lord had said, "You shall not do this," the Lord warned Israel and Judah through all his prophets and seers. Turn from your evil ways, observe my commands and decrees in accordance with the entire law that I commanded your fathers to obey, and that delivered. I have to stop this. Sorry, a program just finished. It was going to shut the computer off. See, the Lord warned Israel through all his prophets and seers, turn from your evil ways, observe my commands and decrees in accordance with the entire law that I commanded your fathers to obey, and that I delivered to you through my servants the prophets. But they would not listen, and were as stiff-necked as their fathers, who did not trust in the Lord their God. I had to close that video. Let me see. I'm going to upload. You guys are going to watch it? I'm uploading it right now. Yesterday. Boom. Let's see. They rejected his decrees and a covenant he made with their fathers and the warnings he had given them. And they followed worthless idols and themselves became worthless. Oh, I've uploaded the wrong video. Cancel. You can't upload this video. It's currently being made. I've hit the wrong thing. I don't even know how it accepted that. But it would have been incomplete. This be the one. La da 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 da. Well, you got to put up with me. Thank you. Da 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 da. Well, they rejected him. His decrees and the covenants he made with their fathers and the warnings he had given them. They followed worthless idols. Themselves became worthless. They imitated the nations around them, although the Lord had ordered them to not do as they do. And they did the things the Lord had forbidden them to do. They forsook all the commands of the Lord their God and made for themselves 2 idols cast in the shape of calves and a sheer pole. They bowed down to all the starry hosts, and they worshipped Baal. They sacrificed their sons and daughters in the fire. They practiced divination and sorcery and sold themselves to the devil. In the eyes of the Lord, they provoked him to anger. And so the Lord was very angry with Israel and removed them from his presence. Only the tribe of Judah was left, and even Judah did not keep the commands of the Lord their God. They followed the practices of Israel had introduced. And therefore the Lord rejected all the people of Israel. He afflicted them and gave them into the hands of the plunderers until he thrust them from his presence. When he tore Israel away from the house of David, they made Jeroboam, son of Nebat, their king. Jeroboam enticed Israel away from following the Lord and caused them to commit a great sin. The Israelites persisted in all the sins of Jeroboam and did not turn away from them until the Lord removed them from his presence, as he had warned through all his servants and prophets. And so the people of Israel were taken from their homeland to exile in Assyria, and they are still there. The king of Assyria brought people from Babylon, Cutha, Abba, Hamath, Sepharvaim, and settled them in the towns of Samaria to replace the Israelites. They took over Samaria and lived in its towns. So, the timelines and everything, you're not sure, but who gives Israel their nation back? The United States of America? And it was God, apparently, that sent them away and put these people in their place. So when Israel says, hey, we own this land, it's ours, God give it to us, what about this? I don't know. When they first lived there, they did not worship the Lord, so he sent lions among them, and they killed some of the people. It was reported to the king of Syria, the people you deported and resettled in the towns of Samaria do not know what the God of that country requires. He has sent lions among them, which are killing them off because the people do not know what he requires. The king of Assyria gave this order: have one of the priests you took captive from Samaria go back to live there and teach the people what the God of the land requires. So one of the priests who had been exiled from Samaria came to live in Bethel and taught them how to worship the Lord. So these people are going to learn to be Jews now? Then are they the chosen Jews, or are these other Jews the chosen Jews? See how it gets crazy? Well, you and I know that Christ, we're all brothers, but these people apparently don't know because they keep killing each other. Nevertheless, each national group made its own gods. In several towns they were settled. They set them up as shrines the people of Samaria had made at high places. The men of Babylon made Succoth, Beneth. The men of Cutha made Nergal. And the men from Hamath made Ashma. The Avites made Nibas and Tartak. And the Sepharvites burned their children in the fire as sacrifices to Adramelech and Anamelech, the gods of Sepharvaim. They worshipped the Lord, but they also appointed all sorts of their own people to officiate for them. Well, these guys are completely ignorant of it, right? At the moment, anyway. Priests and shrines in high places, they worship the Lord, but they also serve their own gods in accordance with the customs of the nations from which they had been brought. And to this day they persist in their former practices. They neither worship the Lord nor adhere to the decrees and ordinances, laws and commands that the Lord gave the descendants of Jacob, whom he named Israel. When the Lord made a covenant with the Israelites, he commanded them, do not worship any other gods or bow down to them, serve them, or sacrifice to them. But the Lord, who brought you up out of Egypt with mighty power and outstretched arm, is the one you must worship. To him you shall bow down, and to him offer sacrifices. You must always be careful to keep the decrees and ordinances, the laws and commands he wrote for you. Do not worship other gods. Do not forget the covenant I have made with you. Do not worship other gods. Rather, worship the Lord your God. It is he who will deliver you from the hand of all your enemies. They would not listen, however, but persisted in their former practices. And even while these people were worshiping the Lord, they were serving their idols. We do. To this day, their children and grandchildren continue to do as their fathers did. In Judah, meanwhile, Hezekiah holds down his own against Assyria, wages a successful campaign against the ever-present Philistines. Well, he rebelled against the king of Assyria and did not serve him. And from the watchtower to fortified city, he defeated the Philistines as far as Gaza and its territory. So then now, those are still Israel, Jew people, right? And they've defeated Gaza. So do what you will. I can't help you. Go on. Go on now. I ain't got time for your childish stuff. Go on. It'll be all right. It'll be all right. Don't worry about it. It'll be all right.